let's dive into what I wrote today. And I wanted to share with you guys my thoughts, something I've also observed for a while. So yeah, let's dive in. Can we talk for a moment about the white community riding on the coattails of the Black and brown communities? I've especially noticed this with people building entire platforms and content around communities they're not even part of, or of a community they're not part of, right? All for entertainment purposes. Call it gatekeeping, call it whatever you want, but let's be real. Historically, MTV didn't even highlight Black artists until it became profitable to do so. It's always when it's convenient, when it generates money, that something suddenly becomes worthy of recognition or attention. It never ceases to amaze me how nearly everything in the world has been colonized, be that land, music, language, attire, even skin complexion. There is an obvious contradiction with the white community wanting to have color while shaming those who naturally do. Make it make sense. I must add, why is the white community rarely, if ever, holding their own accountable? They seem to have no issue calling out the Black and brown communities, which they're not even part of. How about creating content that focuses on your community instead of profiting or constantly profiting off marginalized ones? Let's not forget, white people will never truly know what it means to be part of a marginalized community. And because of that, they'll never fully invest in the very communities they profit from. This is why I personally choose to follow and support Black and brown creators. I believe in putting my money where my mouth is. If I want to see my people grow, I need to invest in them. I mean, that's what the white community has done historically, and let's be real, continues to do so. Small intentional actions might seem minor, but over time, they make a real difference. Furthermore, the Black and brown community has long been used or viewed solely as a source of entertainment. If you look back at classic movies from the 1940s and 50s, which I mentioned my parents were only keen on me watching those when I was growing up because they had a certain perception of that time, or films of that time, to say the very least. But if you look back at the classic movies from the 1940s and 50s, Black and brown people were only allowed into certain venues for music, dancing, if they were even allowed, right? To this day, we continue to see our communities placed at the center of music and sport. Is that the only place we're deemed qualified for? Just so others, in this case the white community, can quickly and without question use us for their own gain? And honestly, this reminds me a lot of the DEI rollbacks, as many say, because I find that a lot of this focus on merit is more an attempt to try to continuously keep the Black and brown community down and from breaking free from this mold. I find that naturally with Trump's administration, which they clearly uphold white supremacy, let's keep it real, the removal of important figures, civil rights figures, MLK, just tells me enough. And the fact that they've been doing so much, and it's evidently solely been targeting communities of color, is a reflection of who they are. So I find that there is an intimidation there, a fear that they have, seeing the Black and brown community break free from a mold that they've created. And in my opinion, they've naturally tried to have us be categorized or stereotyped or whatever it is. They've just wanted the world to perceive us as such, but people pursuing higher education, doing more, especially than the white community, which has been complacent, mediocrity will naturally create complacency. I find that the Black and brown community has been able to excel, has used that as a way to move upward, despite also the challenges and obstacles that we've been presented with. But once again, I feel like similarly to how metal is refined, right? Circumstances and situations that we encounter that may be in complete opposition with us often creates more, and does create more resiliency, creates more character. So yeah, and despite all of this, despite everything that's gone, there's been that has been going on, there's a silver lining in the sense that we, despite our circumstances, have been able to prevail, continue to prevail. And this also tells me enough about the administration and about those that believe and uphold white supremacy, which they are fearful. Mind you, they should keep in mind and bear this in mind, that this land was originally native land. And this chatter or talk about the white population decreasing, which is something I also mentioned. There was this individual, this older man that was getting interviewed, and perhaps some of you guys have seen it, perhaps some of you have not, by this East Asian American man in an East Asian restaurant, said that the white population was decreasing, and there was the Black and brown community was naturally growing, and he believed that, or he did not want to see all that the white community had built given to another community. Interesting. It just goes to show how unwilling they are to even share. And this tells me enough about who they are and were since the very beginning historically. Their inability to even treat those that were here originally with kindness and respect, and instead they were killed, right, murdered. That alone is a testament of who they are and who they have been. So yeah, it's mind-boggling. It's always mind-boggling to see this talk about something that was never earned, but in other words, taken by the white community. Yeah, so with that being said, I'm logging off. Take care.